Hello and welcome to the Inside Luxury Travel podcast with me, Varun Sharma, in association with Hoteliers Global. In each episode, I speak with the leaders, innovators, and personalities behind global hospitality, exploring their journeys, their perspectives, and what truly defines great hospitality today. Today's guest is someone who has quietly become one of the most influential voices in premium travel loyalty and airline strategy in the United Kingdom. Rob Burgess is the founder of Head for Points, the go-to platform for frequent flyers, luxury travelers, and points enthusiasts trying to navigate the increasingly complex world of airlines, hotels, loyalty schemes, and premium travel value. Rob, it is an honor to have you on the show. I
Thanks,
just want to
Varun.
kick off with how important is that word loyalty to airlines and hotels?
Well, I think loyalty and loyalty schemes are possibly two different things. Obviously, loyalty itself encompasses the whole experience, the whole. I mean, come on later as to why Four Seasons, Armband, and were like don't bother with traditional loyalty programs. But yeah, I mean, you've seen this, especially in the airline industry, especially in the United States, where the loyalty programs of American Airlines, Delta Airlines, United, etc., now literally make more profit than the airlines combined. Or to put another way, if the loyalty program didn't exist, the big three American airlines would not make any money at all. There's been a similar shift more recently in the hotel sector. This has partly, I think, been driven by Hilton, Marriott, and IHG just really pushing out into bigger areas. Yeah, in Marriott now you've got Moxie at the bottom, you've got Ritz-Carlton, Ritz at the top. And how do you hold all this together? How do you pull this together into one coherent story? The answer is you basically make your loyalty program the business. If you speak to Marriott, Bonvoy people, the company is almost Marriott, Bonvoy now. What it offers to hoteliers is a market of 200 million plus people, which they will tell you they can deliver to your property at a very low cost in return for you respecting elite benefits, upgrades, and funding loyalty points for them. And that's become a lot more attractive in the last 15, 20 years. And indeed, it's even become more attractive to banks and other funders of hotels who are often now looking for flags before they'll extend loans to a new build property.
Okay, looking at the Venn diagram of the industry, on one hand, you have obviously the airlines, on the other hand, you have the hotels, and it seems to be in the middle, there are partnerships going on. That seems to be quite a new thing.
Yeah, I think it was a natural move because people who are interested in collecting frequent flyer miles when they fly are looking for a similar return from the hotel they take the taxi to when they land. They don't see why they shouldn't be rewarded on both sides of the equation. And what we've seen is airlines building relationships with specific hotel chains. So Hyatt works closely with American. Accor's got a number of partnerships. I mean, you can, for example, earn an Avios on Accor hotel stays as well as Accor points, as long as you link a Qatar Airways Avios account to your Accor hotel account. And I think both parties see it as a way of bringing more people into their ecosystem.
And why are hotels joining the branded sector more and more? It seems all the independents are coming under umbrellas now.
Yeah, it's got. I mean, if you look at the United States, the US has always been close to 80% branded. It's never really been the case in Europe historically, but there's certainly a trend in that direction. It's partly, as I said a minute ago, it's partly about funding. If you need a loan or refinancing or money for a new build, banks now look a lot more favorably on hotels with flags outside. And it's really the scale of the programs. I mean, when Marriott or Hilton or IHG can come to you and say, we have 200 million people in our loyalty program, and then you're looking at, 15, 18, 22% commissions to sell your rooms via the OTAs, it does become very attractive. Or at least more attractive on paper. It doesn't always work for everyone, but it removes a level of risk from a transaction, which certainly for a new build is key.
Okay. I stayed at a hotel, a resort in the Maldives, beautiful five-star resort. Cost around $1,000 a night. And I met some people who were there entirely on
Hmm.
points. And in a way that shocked me. But on the other hand, I thought, well, these are obviously savvy travelers. Is there a worry that hotels are watering down their product with the whole point system?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of discussion in the industry, over the last 6 months about how this impacts the experience for everyone. Now, there's different angles to this. One is that, yeah, you're in a position now where, especially in the US, you can get credit cards with huge sign-up bonuses in hotel points, and that can get you a couple of nights at the Waldorf Astoria in New York or Conrad Maldives or one of the luxury Hyatt Leela properties. And some guests who are happy paying $2,000, $2,500 a night for these properties are perhaps, I still couldn't put it, but not desperately happy with people who clearly look like they're there on points and are raiding the breakfast buffet to avoid paying for lunch because lunch is going to cost them $200 a head. That's part of it. Although I'm not sure I buy into that argument much. I mean, money these days is very broadly spread. There are plenty of, young kids who've made money from crypto or from the tech industry who probably look equally unacceptable to a moneyed 60-year-old couple. So I didn't see that as an issue. I think what is more of an issue actually is some hotels which appear to be becoming sort of what people are calling points farms, i.e., it's debatable whether these hotels could actually sustain $1,500 a night rack rate if they had to sell all their rooms to the public, but they can rely on the brand to deliver them a very large part of their keys every night. And they're not necessarily the few people who do turn up and pay real money are possibly getting shortchanged because the whole economics of the hotel are not geared up to deal with real cash payers.
I do note that the likes of Amman, Peninsula, Mandarin Oriental don't get involved as much in the whole point scheme. Is that something that they've done on purpose to keep out the riffraff like myself?
I don't think it's to keep that riffraff. It's purely because, and you see this in other aspects of business as well. A lot of the times, a loyalty program is there to cover up failures in the business itself. If you effectively have to pay people or bribe people to come to your property or divert their spend to you, then clearly you're not the sort of default go-to option for these people. So you have to incentivize them, and that costs you money. And you can make an argument that says Four Seasons, Peninsula, Mandarin, Armand, Erels, etc. They simply don't need to incentivize people to come to their properties. Now, it's obviously these people are part of Virtuoso, they have their preferred partner deals, so that they are quietly around the edges offering something to people to, or at least to make their advisors book them, shall we say, if not in themselves. But they're not as dependent on loyalty schemes as, say, Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, brands which arguably are not as strong as they were when they're required by a big chain and are possibly reliant on the loyalty scheme to prop them up to a certain extent.
Now, you alluded to this in your very, very first answer that the US has basically led the whole loyalty point scheme, and Europe and the rest of the world are following. Are they following fast? Are they catching up with the US?
There's always a problem in that Europe, Australia now, a lot of other countries have capped credit card interchange fees. I know it sounds slightly bizarre to link all this back to the fees that shops pay to accept credit cards. But in the US and Middle East, you still have uncapped credit card fees to retailers. You've got stores paying 3% fees to accept credit cards. That funds huge levels of loyalty points, both on transactions, in terms of annual bonuses, in terms of sign-up bonuses. And, Europe, Australia, you're looking at 0.3% caps fees. And you don't get a distortion from the credit card market. And bizarrely, the card market affects it more than just regular stairs, because the scale is huge. I mean, you probably used to do 30, 40 nights at Hilton to get the same number of points, but one American credit card sign up could get you.
Wow.
So you're in a position where, I mean, Hilton has credit cards which give top tier diamond status just for signing up. It has credit card which come with a free night, followed at any hotel in the Hilton portfolio, all of Astoria's, Conrad's included every year, as long as you pay the card fee. And there's obviously put a lot of free night vouchers, a lot of points into the system. Although that's a bit of a problem outside the US because whilst the schemes don't like to admit it, a lot of them have got less generous in terms of what you get in terms of staying at the property over the last year or so, because they're trying to control the number of points going into the system, because that just leads to inflation and excess demand for rooms. But the number of points being generated by the US credit card market is really just drowning what people are earning from actually staying there. It's another level of distortion. It actually makes it far harder for people in a lot of countries to actually earn points on stays to actually get enough for a free night. If you did take Hyatt and stuff, sorry.
Rob, sorry, I don't mean to butt in there, but I do want to touch on something else, which is, I suppose, a bit more political here. With what's going on in the world, they're talking about, cancelling flights. Points are going to mean very, very little, unless, for instance, in the US, you're in the same country. With what is going on in the world at the moment and what will go on for the next few months, are points going to just become, superfluous to people's lives?
No, I don't think so. Oddly enough, I mean, for a start, if you book a hotel on reward points, that hotel room is always flexible. So it actually makes more sense at the moment to not buy a flight cash. So if you're heading to a region where there might be disruption, which book it on frequent flyer miles, our flight is cancelable at any point. Similarly, hotel point redemptions, they're always cancelable. Intriguingly, what you're probably finding actually, certainly in places like the Middle East at the moment, is a lot of people, certainly locals, checking into hotels, which are now very cheap, just to build up elite night credits to get status. I mean, during COVID, I rented a Marriott property in London to sell me 20 nights for £40 a night. I didn't actually stay there because I had a house around the corner. But it was double status points, so I got 40 elite night credits. There was a massive bonus points promotion going on. Got me Marriott Titanium for the following year. So I'm pretty sure there are people cutting deals at the moment just to earn very cheap elite night credits and the like.
Gosh, Rob, I
Brand
remember
practice.
watching a movie a couple of years ago about uh, some people in the States who have those coupons, and
Yeah.
how you can get your entire shop for free. Are there people out there who basically live their lives in travel on loyalty schemes?
We're all there's a blog called Loyalty Lobby actually, and the two guys who write Loyalty Lobby who actually live full time in hotels, mainly in Asia. It's very nice, generally 5-star hotels, which they fund pretty much or fund very heavily based on loyalty programs, which has got the best promotion at the moment. So, yeah, it's all literally moving stays around based on whether we'll get the highest reward to fund future stays. It doesn't work as well, obviously, in Western countries where rates are higher. But
Yeah.
you can, I mean, if I decided to go digital nomad for 6 months, I'd be out in Asia, jumping from 4 or 5 star to 4 or 5 star, maximizing the points, my status, so I can so I then get a nice upgrade, free breakfast on the next day, and it all it works well for people. I mean, there's an argument that says for most people, actually, they'd be better off just picking the best hotel for every stay based on where they have to be, what the best hotel is in that city, etc. I mean, yeah, Marriott rely on you to book a slightly knackered Marriott if you go to a certain city rather than a brand new Hilton because you've got status of free breakfast in Marriott or there's promotion running. And there's an argument for just saying stuff the whole loyalty business, become a free agent and have the best experience you can on every stay you do, rather than selling yourself short in terms of hotel quality or location for a number of stays just to get a free night in the future. But I know a lot is also driven by, whether you're traveling on your own money, whether you're traveling on your company's money.
And sorry, Rob, and also I'm kind of thinking here that the hotel groups and indeed the airlines want you to book direct with them. That's where
Yeah,
you get the most loyalty points. So you
yeah, they're
book
not, they're
direct
not there.
rather than going through an OTA or even a travel agent.
Yeah, the airlines don't care actually. The airline commissions are basically nil to 1% now
Okay.
compared to OTAs. So I can't think of any airline which penalizes you for using the OTA. But yeah, the hotels, there's virtually no major hotel scheme which will give you any benefits if you book via an OTA.
Okay.
It's which is sometimes a problem when if I do some consultancy for a client and they book me through Expedia, I can tell them from Marriott with titanium status and be refused. No points, no free breakfast, no upgrades.
Yeah.
It's well, on the other hand, yeah, I mean, the hotels paid out about 22% fee to the OTA,
Yeah.
which is at least 10% above the combined fees that Marriott or whoever would be charging,
Yeah.
and they want to get that back effectively.
Okay. Quick one, Rob, because I've got a lot of time left. 5 years time. What's going to happen to premium travel loyalty? More valuable, less valuable? Everything just the way it is?
There's a real risk, I think, that at some point, and we've seen this already in the airline business to some extent, where airlines have devalued their schemes so much that it's virtually impossible to get a free flight in a premium cabin on a date you want for a sensible number of miles. And it's led more and more people to abandon the airline loyalty schemes. It's possible at some point that the hotel schemes just get too carried away with devaluations and people look at them and think, actually, I'm never going to earn enough points from my stays purely just to get a couple of decent free nights. So I'm just going to go off and start picking what's best for me on every stay. And that's the risk, that this scheme's been a bit too greedy and a bit too much to the US credit card market and actually make it just irrelevant to the average stayer. I mean, if you look at where I was, I mean, it's shocking. If you go back to when I started Head Points 15 years ago, you could book any intercontinental hotel in the world for 30,000 IXG points per night. And now in Paris or New York, it's 150,000, so 5 times. If you want the Maldives, Bora Bora, Bali, it's 250,000, so 8 times up. I mean, there's been, and the earnings side has not really changed in that time. There's just been massive devaluations. And anyone who'd been sitting on points for 10 years waiting for retirement has seen their pot
This is going to happen.
massively devalued out of the way. So
Well,
it is tricky.
it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens in the future. I have to say that I don't think I've raised my eyebrows so much in an interview for a long, long time, because not only have you taught me a lot, but some of your statistics are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Rob Burgess, founder of Head for Points. Thank you so much for your time today. It has been encyclopedic.
That's great. Great to meet you, Varun.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.